Es ist Mittwoch, es ist 8, sorry. It's Wednesday, it's 6 o'clock, and it's time for dinner for X. This evening, the first time we do an English special. And my name is 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗿𝘁, and maybe you're wondering that we're now streaming via the profile of 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. He's unfortunately not available on short notice, so I just stepped in to bring you through the evening tonight. And as you might remember, 2 weeks ago, we hosted the Intersite Seekers event, Secure Digitalization. That happened in Frankfurt, and we had the pleasure of meeting two very interesting men, Clemens Sökefeld and Brochus from the company Egerie, a company based in France. And so that's the reason why today we are hosting the Dinner for X the first time in English. And very welcome, you two. Very, very happy that you join us tonight in the Dinner for X. And you were, in fact, one of the main sponsors at the event in Frankfurt. And they touched on a very important theme during our event, financial evaluation of cybersecurity risks. And we have invited them back this evening to go into more detail on that topic. And Baptiste, Clemens, very welcome. And we are very, very happy to have you here tonight. Do you have the chance to shortly introduce yourself now to our audience?
Thank you, Jürgen, for a very nice introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Clemens, and I'm the German face of Egerie.
Thank you, Clemens. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Jürgen. So I'm Baptiste from Egerie. I will manage the entire DACH zone and develop Egerie, especially for Germany. So with implementation in Germany and hard work on local business, local people to help us, and a lot of clients we have.
Yeah, thanks very much, and nice that you both took the time tonight or this evening to share this deep information that we shortly have in our menu. Normally, if we're doing this in German, we would give you the advice to stop the subtitles. Hopefully today they are making more or less sense, so you can stop them by clicking on the CC icon on below in LinkedIn, or you can even leave them, because tonight it should be okay with the English subtitles anyway. So tonight we have a very, very interesting menu, and let us have a short look onto the menu tonight, what you are going to present us. So first of all, the entry, the appetizer, we go with a bottom-up approach, assets and people, the best way to quantify. The main course is a 360 degrees overview, governance and action plan. And as a dessert, you will bring us the quantification and governance. So I'm very, very interested in what we are going to see in the next part. So Baptiste, I think, we're now in the time to go on to the appetizer, and it's your stage to take us through the appetizer.
Thank you, Sean. So I brought on the presentation. So Egerie. We are a company who was started 20 years ago into the risk analysis market. So we have two founders who have worked a lot around everything about risk, conformity, and the mapping, and to make it like a matrix with everything articulated together, like the business process, the assets, people who are working on conformity, risk, vulnerabilities. So everything normally is handled in company like in two silos. Here with Egerie, we have put everything in one platform to map everything together. So what we will see tonight, it's not the very huge technical part, but more what this entire work have permitted to do. So the quantification of the cyber risk. So your challenge, we are in a time where the risk, the cyber risk, is a huge pain point for the company. We know a lot of company who has lost a lot of money on that, a lot of business, especially like some weeks ago in Germany also with a big company who get some trouble with that. And this is very painful to resolve or even to prevent. Because to prevent that, normally we do through conformity with a lot of Excels and so on, with a lot of consulting and a lot of effort from internal people. What we do in Egerie is to come from just from the GRC methodology to a very multi-method approach. So what we are used to normally is GRC methodology. So we have risk, we have controls, and we apply that. If we do only GRC methodology, we can be compliant to a market, we can be compliant to a standard. But are we clearly protect in terms of real risk, real business that impact us? So in Egerie, we have mapped thousands of risks based on supporting assets you have in your company through a business assets model, where we can modelize how you work or should be the thing could be, and then we apply the control. So this multiple approach comes from the bottom, so from your company, from your assets, from your people working on your assets, the way you're working, so the business process, the business assets, and finally we make all the controls, and all these controls into this entire matrix of risk, of vulnerabilities, of threats, give us this way to quantify it. So the cyber risk analysis, mapping and financial quantification platform, we will get the appetizer, so analysis by scope. So you have a company with a lot of business units, a lot of projects, a lot of family of assets, from standards, from conformity. And so we will make this first layer, so the appetizer, analysis by scope. Then the main course, the global overview of that. And then the dessert, finally, the quantification, how we can achieve a clear and real quantification of the cyber risk. So the appetizer, Egerie, and the bottom-up approach, assets and people. So this part is very important because we are talking about your company. When you are in a sales team, you have your business sales, and you have your people using before in a long time ago, for example, Excel or some other tools like that, and making it their forecast through what they want to do through Excel, so formulas, so a lot of data with a lot of silos. We get after that this beautiful tool Salesforce, and so we are talking a bit of the same way and the same approach to make it. So you have a family, a group of assets, a group of people or business units with owners of these assets. You have your key business stakeholder. They are engaged in the company and making during the life of your business, all the regarding your cyber risk, your industrial process, everything. They are tackling this every day, and so this is the people we in terms of cyber security approach. And then you have your experts. So normally experts do everything. This is the guy who make all the Excels, all the conformity approach, and so on and so on. So the amount of work is huge for them. But when we put this effort into this base of people who are working with, for example, I'm a data architect, I make my controls. These controls go through this risk analysis brick. And we have a first module of risk analysis with a first step, with the first part of your company, where we have clearly determined the assets, the business process, the risk, the vulnerabilities, the scenario can apply on that. And then we go through this, through the entire company. If you have a global group into the world, you can have thousands and thousands of assets, of business process, of IT assets also. And then Egerie comes with his own libraries of vulnerabilities, of controls, with all the standards you can have on the market, and also all the libraries with threats and everything. So we make this from the bottom. Everybody in the company concerned by this topic of risk analysis in cyber have to work on that, make their forms with all the conformity, all the controls, and then Egerie digests this appetizer and make the second layer, the vision. And in this vision, you have mapped around, for example, here for this client, 9 strategic risks. Maybe it's 3 for your company, maybe it's 10, but we are able to map big family of risk. So next,
if I may ask one question, because what you already started with in the appetizer was really looking promising, and I'm wondering if this is the basis also for implementing Egerie as a software within my company. It is really required to have this analysis and to get all this information that you are currently that you need within the company. What are the processes? Where are the risks assigned to, and all the assets? And is that a process that is also supporting by implementing your software already in the company?
Yes, totally. When the first time you download, for example, you install Salesforce into your company, it's a blank tool, it's a blank software. You can see nothing. Do you say to yourself, okay, so only the sales director will manage it? No, it's too much work. He won't make a meeting with all the sales on the market to make his own Salesforce. So the idea is to have all your employees, all your sales, making it to make the global forecast. And your sales director, the expert, will have a look on the forecast. Don't build it from the bottom. So this is very important that in terms of cyber risk, everybody in the company has to be engaged into the process. We cannot tackle these hundreds and hundreds of risks every day without having all the company into this process. So someone who is in charge of the supply chain, someone is in research and development has to be engaged also in this one. He has to make his own control. Do my laptop is okay? Do my files are on the good support assets, and so on and so on. So if everybody make a very small brick of this process, at the end, the second layer, when you have to tackle all your risk analysis, your big one, your strategy, you have all the details of what's happening in your company. So for example, this client, after 2 years, we were able to make 900K controls, 9,000 controls. So you see that you cannot do that from just your CISO, just from one of your experts or your outsourced consulting firm. You have to tackle that from the bottom, from every people working on this subject and on all the process of the company.
Yeah, that sounds like a ongoing process to get this payback at the end. But nevertheless, there's always a need to start. And at the end, if I see what you can gather in this 2 years of working with your client, that really looks promising of the results that you can achieve. And even me, it makes me more hungry on the main course now, because I'm very, very looking forward what you're going to present in the main course. I will leave the stage to you again, and we will see about the 360-degree overview. So, but it's up to you.
Thanks. So we have seen all the risk analysis and scenario we can apply on just one asset. You can apply like 10 scenarios of vulnerabilities into one asset. For example, the laptop of your R&D director. You can multiply that by 1,000 into your company of the kind of breach you can have. So after you have engaged all your stakeholders into this process, and again, cyber risk is a process. It's not just I have my firewall, I'm okay. It's a way. It's based on human, because it's cyber risk is also behavior. It's a breach from human. So we have to engage all the people into the business process, and so cyber risk has to apply to everybody. So when you have done that, you have taken all your company into this process. You have also connectors and API for obviously to import your assets and so on. But once you have done that, you can start to have a good view of what you are doing. So we can maybe go back to the first, let's say, the first stuff of the cyber risk. So you have a risk. You apply controllers on that risk is GRC. Okay, you are compliant to a standard. But are you really protected? Are you in a good way, in a good process of being vigilant around your cyber risk? So not exactly. So you have assets also in your company. So you have supporting assets and you have asset owner. This is very important because this is the people in your company who will be in charge of having a good way of being vigilant around their assets. Then you have your business assets also, because you have assets, you have also business way of doing that. So you don't have just the IT guy, you have also the business owner. Because in supply chain, for example, you have the guy of the supply chain, but you have also you not just have the guy from IT for the supply chain with SAP and so on. You have also the guy into the company who are in the life doing the supply chain. So you have also business assets, and then you have the threats and the vulnerabilities. So Egerie comes with the risk. We map the risk. We have a libraries of threats, ongoing threats. We have also the vulnerability associated to the assets, and we map to that business owner, asset owner, and the controls they have to apply on their daily on a daily basis way of life. Because we are not here speaking about once a year making an assessment of the conformity, an assessment of the cyber risk. It's an ongoing process. Every time you are aware of what is your exposure, what is where the efforts you have to apply on your company. So you can just, if you want to have your quantification, this is a very, very you are obliged to make that. And if you do that only 1 year's anniversary, making a conformity assessment, you cannot have a clear view of your cyber risk exposure and also the remediation plan you can have to associate to that. So the CISO can have a view of all the congregated bricks of risk, and you can see that in terms of entity, in terms of project, in terms of business unit in countries, in terms of kind of work, kind of I don't know if you're in pharmaceutical, in kind of products and so on. So we can have a quick, have a global overview of its risk analysis. So when we have made this first layer, so we have seen that from the bottom, everybody has to be involved in this process. Like in Salesforce, when we are making a forecast, then we have the overview. So the experts have a look on this. All these small forecasts to make the very biggest one, the quantification. So this quantification is dedicated to the CISO and the C-level. So this is the first time we can have a very precise view of what the company day-to-day is exposed to. And also, and it's very important, the plan of remediation of that. So you can see your return on investment in terms of, okay, I'm exposed to 20 million risk. I have a plan. If I apply this plan, it's 1 million to apply it. So, and I reduce my risk by 50%. So from 20 million risk exposure, I go to 10 million exposure just with a plan of 1 million. And I know in my company directly who has to apply this plan, because I have from the bottom mapped the asset, the business, the assets owner and the business owner. So you have this matrix where you can see everything, and we make it readable for people.
That means also for your clients or the potential clients, and we're also representing this to our audience today. They can really easily quantify what is the risk in which area I'm exposed the most, and really go into the details and really work with those information that you are gathering by Egerie tool to really work on the risk, reduce the material risk, and increase, so to say, the control environment within your company. And that's on a very, very easy way, so to say.
Yes, clearly. And we have a lot of clients in France already, a lot of, before going to other countries, we have made 5 years of huge work in France. We have a lot of institutional clients like Army, Defense, very huge company. And we see in banks, in insurance, and we see this very huge structure where you can have breach everywhere. So if you take your people with you in this process, like you have done, all the company have done it for the supply, for the sales, for the accountancy. But for cyber, we are still working on this kind of Excel and conformity and silot. So here, it's all about engage the people, have a view of everything moving together, and then we have the final quantification. So as a dessert, we can have this quick overview. So I've spoken of the big family of the risk. So depending your business, we can make the tool will make you the big kind of risk universe you have. So for example, here we have a company who has a lot of risk for ransomware, hack intrusion, damage to the brand image. So we quantified for each big family in order that the C-levels, like a CISO going to the CIO or the CFO asking for budget. Okay, I have right now, after all this control, I've seen that I have an exposure of 20 million. But what I've seen is just with a small project, internal small project of 200K, I can reduce my risk by 10, 20%, 30%, and very precisely. We even know the mandates associated to each control and to each remediation task. So this is a decisional tools like we can have for Salesforce also. Again, I speak a lot of Salesforce because when we were making sales before, it was through Excel with Silot, and we don't see from each business unit what's happening. So after that, we get a CRM with everything we can see, and all this, the company was engaged into this process, and people in direction, in C-level, can take very quick decision, very clear decision, and very intelligible and efficient decision, because the information they have are not coming from the space, it's coming from the people on the field. So everybody knows his business in the company, know his assets, and so what we are doing through this quantification, it's a very clear quantification. I know each euros I will spend on that will be a win.
Honestly speaking, something every CIO, every CISO is looking for, because he needs to quantify the risk and he needs to put in a balance what to invest to reduce the risk, and what is the quantity, what is the value that we need to invest. And I think this is the tool nearly every CIO, CISO is requiring, because it's easily to quantify your risk. It's easily to quantify the responses on the risk and to really see, okay, what is the reduction that we gain after having this implemented. So a very, very helpful tool in this case. Anyway.
I won't say it saves lives, but when you are a CISO, you can go to jail if you don't apply your plan. So if you have a very good view on your plan from each of your assets, each of your people, you see everything with a big view, and you have your plan already. When you see in Egerie, you have your remediation plan associated to all your controls you have made through all the standards you have to apply in the world, because there is hundreds of standards. You have this view, this clear calendar of what you can apply. If I do this action, I reduce my risk by XK. If I do that, 20 main days for this data asset owner with this sales business owner, I can reduce my risk by X%. And you see directly that the money, it's not real money, because it's your intern doing the good way of working within cyber risk. You will put some effort on that and drastically reduce. We have some company who have reduced through just making good process, and see for the first time the entire company process and into the cyber risk make a lot of time, because it's time consumption, a lot of risk. Ransomware, we get a lot of clients to whom we have success to avoid some of this, because we give them the eyes to see everything. So you have this risk mapping, assets by assets, people by people. You are then your global view for the manager and CISO, and then you have your quantification for the top management. So if I spend 10 euros, I win 1 million. I don't lose 1 million. Okay, let's go. Let's make this 20 main days. And as we are just finishing 5 minutes less 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗿𝘁, as we are in Germany, and ich muss auf Deutsch sprechen, so the 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗿𝘁, we can say I've spoken a lot of Salesforce because I'm using it every day in my life because I'm making sales. And before that, I was using Excel. And when you are a director of sales, you see you can have 20 sales with 20 type of Excels. You have to remediate all your data. And when you have Salesforce, you have your forecast. You know where you will land. So the first time I've known Egerie, I said to myself, why we didn't do that in cyber? Why are you still working through Excel, through Silot? Why do we don't have very huge CRM with everything happening in my company regarding that, to see all the standards we have, like with ISO and so on, with everything we can have on the market, we have to comply with all this work of conformity. And so when I see that, a clear view, so this is Egerie. I have made all my control, maybe a project of, it depends of the size of the company, but from 3 months, 6 months to 9 months, I make all my mapping into my company. So I upload all my assets. I've mapped every owner of these assets, and then I have mapped all my business process through this mapping, and I have applied all the libraries from Egerie regarding vulnerabilities, threats, and so on and so on. And so I see my plan. When I downloaded Egerie, I start with a risk of 27 million. I've made for the first month, some direct action. I've reduced my risk of 6 million. This to reduce from a very quick plan, so the very urgent risk retreatment. You have a workload of 349 main days with an associated cost to around 1 million. So to come from 21 million to 15 million, I have to apply an internal project. So mandates of my internal people working on their assets of 1 million. So I'm going to my C-level and say, okay, I can make savings of 5 million of my risk with an investment of this internal mandates, so 300 mandates. So with this very quick plan, I can reduce my risk exposure from 21 million to 15 million with this small plan. And I have everything. I just have to click on my, here you can have, it's a picture, so I won't click on that, but you have your treatment plant, you have your go here, and you have everything you have mapped into your company. Or we can also map into Egerie, but you can see all the assets, your business owners, and who has to do the task to reduce your risk.
Yeah, to be honest, this is the dashboard every manager is requesting at the end, because when I come down from 27 million and I come to an end at 50 million of risk, and I can reduce my risk by 12 million, and I see the treatment plan, I see the action plan, and I know where to go. I think this is absolutely what any manager, and especially in the IT environment, needs. And unfortunately, I would longer talk to you about the tool, because I really enjoy those things you painted on the wall, because it's really helping the companies. And there is one thing I need to really thank you for, Baptiste, because you opened up the French-German friendship with a Schnaps digestif, and I know that last week we had together some drinks, and this was really, yeah, I'm really looking forward to, because this tool is helping a lot of people that are currently watching our show, because I think especially risk and how to reduce risk in your companies, to make that visible, because this is the current problem that most of the companies have. They do not make their risks and the value of the risk visible, and especially the plans how to reduce it. This is something that's more needed, and especially in the way that any company is going to more digital or digitized environment. This is something every company nearly needs. And that leads me to the last question I have to you guys. So we were talking about very high sums of risks, about 27 million risks. So for the audience, maybe shortly just describe what is the kind of customer that you are watching at, and where does it make the most sense to use Egerie in the first point now?
I would say everybody. Everybody, obviously, because now, especially in Germany, because in Germany you have a lot of productive company. We don't have that in France. We are more into a service country with very huge company and more. I don't like to say that, but there is a small. There is less big. In the middle, big company. In Germany, you have a lot of company into the industrial field. For example, who, the equipment for automotive and so on and so on. There is a lot of very huge company, and they are the target for into the cyber risk, huge target. In France, this is the hospital, so we made an entire Egerie for hospital to manage that. For Germany, we are working on the automotive field, and we have detailed everything, every piece of a car with all the standards you have to apply, so all the ISO and so on, especially for the connected car. And so you can have an Egerie built for a car. So you can have all the pieces, all the standards you have to apply, and everything you can happen onto your market. So you can decide to split your BU like that. And you have also in insurance, because in insurance wants to give to a company an insurance about cyber risk. But how I know the price, this is because I don't know how the company is protected. So if I use that to audit this company, I can have a big overview of what is the risk exposure. So you can have a lot of clients like that. Our first client in Germany is from the Church of Germany. So we can have a lot of kind of clients, and this is a burning topic for everybody in the market. Clearly, right now, it concerns everybody on the market, even the small company.
Yeah, thanks very much, Baptiste and Clemens, for those very interesting insights, to be honest, and for me a very value adding dinner for X again, because I would say anybody who's really working into the GRC environment, this is a tool that you at least need to look on. And yeah, for all the audience where the interest is very high now to get some more details of Egerie, feel free to contact Baptiste or Clemens directly, or you can go via Dinner for X, Security as a Service, or BFMT, and we will guide you to those two guys, and they will really go with you into the details of Egerie and how you can make it a usable tool for your company. So thanks very much, Baptiste and Clemens, for your participation tonight. Thank and yeah, for hosting or supporting our first Dinner for X in English, which was really a nice and yeah.
And I will say it in French.
French.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah. So everybody now watching the show tonight. So next week we do have another very interesting guest, 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 from ZAP Alliance. They are doing SAP audit using AI technology, which will be a really interesting topic again. And unfortunately for everybody now enjoying our English version of Dinner for X, next week we're returning to German. But nevertheless, due to the first experience, I think we will continue with this part, and English is within one of the next Dinner for X. And yeah, I would say thank you very much, everybody, participating in the show tonight. And thank you two guys for sharing your information with the Egerie tool. And have a nice evening. See you next week with 𝗗𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.